All right, so first thing
Who doesn't want to be here?
What's that?
Who doesn't want to be here?
London, don't you dare. First thing
I'm in charge. I have to be here.
Yeah, she has to monitor what my analysis is. All right, thermal imaging. That's going to be the first thing we're going to be using. I'll do a quick demo with all of these devices just so we all know what we're looking for. As I assign all of your devices here, hold your questions. The first location, London and I will work with you one-on-one to show you more about like what not to look for and things more hands-on tactics. So again, this is just to get the devices in your hands and get the party started. But you guys should all be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. If you were a bridal party, I'd be the hottest thing in the frame. So that's supposed to be a joke, I know. It's bad. It works though. It works. So what we're looking for in here are cold spots, literal cold spots. So the blue and black in the frame are the colder areas in the obviously the camera. So this is a FLIR Pro 1. This is used by like firemen and electricians and those kind of people to be able to find leaks and things like that in your car, and firemen to actually help save people. We're looking for the blue and black spots to actually move on their own, take shape, or change temperature. There is a blue dot bouncing around the screen. The blue dot shows us the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. So it kind of helps lead our eye into where we should be looking. I also left the center crosshairs on there so that way if there is something that's like the blue dot isn't catching but something's changing shape, that person can move the camera to get the center crosshairs on there to actually get a read on it. So again, you're going to get this full video back. So as great as the hardware is, the software is horrible. So we're going to do a few starts and stops with this guy just because we want to be able to, splice it all together and give you one video with this. So I'm losing names already. Was it Steve?
Steve.
Ha! Look at me. I got it right. So Steve, you're going to hold this guy horizontal all night long. The camera's on your left-hand side. You're going to do a couple of things. Every time you restart it, you want to make sure that camera's on the left-hand side. YouTube doesn't know when I splice it together, it doesn't know all the flippies, so you got to make sure it's on the right side so you have a nice, even video to watch. Otherwise, I got to give out your phone number, and all these people are going to be calling you angry. It's never fun. It's a joke. Man, you guys are not laughing. So I got to stop with the jokes, huh?
Tough crowd.
I know. It's all right. We're going to keep moving. Let's get the other camera out, just so that we can have both cameras running.
Maybe. We'll see. I'll go as long as I can. I can switch up. So you said start and stop.
Yeah, that's the red square that's on there. It's
So
already
you're just-
recording.
You'll just reset it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You'll just tap that red square. It'll turn to a circle.
Sure.
So forth and so on. All right. So this little guy, we're gonna let this cart pass because I don't want any light passing through. You should not be able to see me in this camera. It should be pretty dark in there. So we're gonna turn on some lights. So now we're working with infrared lighting. This is lighting you cannot see with your own eyes. So hopefully the capture here is that we're going to find something we wouldn't normally see with our own eyes. So this is a big deal. We're also going to be using another device with this. So we'll kind of talk about that once I pull that out. But again, this camera also, we're going to do starts and stops because it is a GoPro and it doesn't have sound. So again, we're going to do starts and stops with this one as well. So Chris, we're going to go with you on this one. You can manhandle it, dude. It's not delicate. You're good.
Manhandle it. Yeah.
Just don't drink with it.
Yeah. A little shaky.
Don't do that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, not like that.
Let's talk spirit boxes. So we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. So spirit boxes allow us to communicate with the dead. So the cool thing about this one is it's going to sweep through the FM radio stations just like you see on TV and give you the white noise, only mine are slowed down. So with them being slowed down, the radio chatter will come through. I want you to tell me what the radio chatter says. So I do have two of these. They will go out to individual people, but those two people will have an earbud in so that they're going to be the only ones that can hear the sweep. I'm going to set one to record so that way you get the full recording back. The radio chatter, the reason why I do that is because you're not actually trained to listen to white noise and history all night long. Somebody will fall asleep. It's a guarantee. So, that's what we use white noise for normally, right? To fall asleep. But with that radio chatter, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history I'm talking about, or even something going on with one of us. Remember, it's a 50-50 shot. So again, I'm not saying everything you're going to hear is going to be, oh my God, it's paranormal, because he said 50% off. You know, that doesn't mean anything unless the number 50 means something to that particular location. So I'm going to set this one up to record. The other one will not record. I don't want to throw too much at you in the data. So this one will record. And this is not an easy job, just so you guys know. So Mary, this one's going to go to you.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Yes. So you have one button to worry about.
Okay.
So it's a wheel right here. It'll control the volume for you once it's in your ear. So London's going to help you get this earbud.
If I do a light, just so she can see.
No, you're good. So right here, there's a wheel. You want to hit the button that'll shut it off. So the wheel, you'll just turn it until you get a comfortable volume. So London will help you get that earbud in there.
Yes.
And again, most people just listen with one in, so that way you can hear me as well and just control the volume either way.
Okay. And we don't want earbuds back.
We
because
do
your
not
wax is gross.
Exactly.
You want to take the trash shotty?
It's great for
All right.
Bossy. That's all right. They get more bossy later on.
I have another one.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
actually about to become a grandfather, if you
Oh.
can believe it. So,
No, I can't. Wow.
all right. You're going to get the other one. So your volume button is right here. Your wheel is a little bit easier.
Just checking.
Yours will not record, so it's relying on you. Whatever you hear, I'm writing down.
So what do you do to turn it on? Is it automatically recording?
Yes. It records what the box says, not what you say.
So it's not picking up the amount, right?
Not yet.
So it's picking up the...
So you can actually be kind of comfortable and just wait,
frequency,
you know, kind of laissez-faire with that if you need to be. I know that holding that up can be very difficult. The last spirit box we're going to be using, this one works a whole lot different than the other two that we're actually going to be listening to. So this one is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. It's going to save all of those words to a list. So that list actually has timestamps on it. This is an app for a cell phone. 80% of what comes out of this thing isn't going to mean anything. A lot of times I'm going to say that's
like
too
me.
vague. Actually, I've never heard that one before. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Last night they actually had 65 terms. I'm going to clear it out so you guys have a nice fresh list. So again, a lot of the night I'm going to say that's pretty vague. I don't really even want to know about that word. And when I want to see the whole, word list, I will come to you and say, let me see the word list. And all you're going to do is you're going to click that little white button and then circle back. When you have words in there, you'll be able to scroll through them. And again, I'll be there because I want to see the list anyway. So again, every word that pops up, I won't need to see it. I'll come to you when I want to see the list.
Okay.
And
Do
remember,
you want me to tell you every
she's
time I see a
15.
word,
No.
or just let it go?
Just let it go. I will come to you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that song just came on.
What, should I say no thanks?
Yeah, hit no thanks. If it's asking for a rating, just hit no thanks.
Okay.
yeah. No, we don't like it.
London,
Huh?
you're going to be helping Chris.
Oh, okay.
So this is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything when we're done.
Oh, it's better than the last guy. He had a stun gun.
Oh, that's cool.
We're working with lasers.
Oh, geez, I'm gonna
So
go in there.
lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. I normally don't give them to teenagers, but she knows how to use them. So the reason why we're going to use lasers tonight and helping Chris with this is because you can't see the lasers from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. However, Chris's camera can see these lights flare up really nice with his infrared camera. So the other one we're going to be using is red squares. So same principle, if something goes through it, I can take the still from the video that Chris is going to shoot for us, and if there is something there, I can put it in 3D software and give you full measurements of what we have along with measurements. It's crazy. So,
Can't talk in the ear that's got something in it. What?
Lasers. Put it in the screen out.
don't get that
You
arrested.
two aren't gonna fight like halfway
That's
through,
no
are you?
fun. We never fight.
So when the words come up, I don't have to do anything?
Nope, I'm going to
Okay.
come to you to see the list from time to time.
Oh, there's lots of words.
You're going to get a lot.
Bloodletting.
Yeah.
So Nick, I missed
That's a
this
good
point.
Yeah.
So
That is a
is,
good word.
is certain words going to pop up? Like, I missed that because I was
So, go ahead and hold it. He needs to see what that actually looks like. So, every once in a while, a word will pop up in the center of the screen. This is an app, and the way I explain it is 80% of what's going to come up out of this thing is BS. It doesn't mean anything. However, you're going to get the full list when it starts to pop up.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, when it's actually relevant to our person, location, or one of us, I'll give you the reason why and a link to verify.
Cool. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed that.
No, you're
part.
good, because you guys were, I saw that. All right, so you're the last one. You're the most important.
I am not, but
So
They're red.
this is a millimeter. So what this is, it's going to do 3 different functions. So the top one is going to measure electromagnetic fields. So any kind of electrical current, like cell phones, wiring, anything like that, it will measure that. Anything above 2.5, I'll kind of take a look at it and see if there might be something man-made near us, or if we can prove it with something else. The bottom is going to be ambient temperature. So in the event Steve finds something on his camera, we'll be able to debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the probe at the top. So the bottom number is temperature. The last thing that, not the flashlight, we don't want that on. The last thing that it has is it has a motion sensor built into it. So if something actually gets close to this antenna, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go. So we don't use that all the time because it can be very distracting when I'm trying to give you the history of places. So I'll show you more about that at the first location. So all you have to do for now is focus on those 2 red numbers that are on your screen. Top
just
one is
repeat. So the top number?
anything above 2.5.
Okay.
And then the bottom, we're going to use when he finds something on his camera.
Roger.
So basically, you got to focus on that big number.
Got it. Perfect.
Okay. Everybody's got devices but me. So I don't need anything because I'm going to be having to help all of you. So
You should have something. That's unfair.
we don't need another.
Equality.
We don't need another.
Equality, Johnny.
All right. I have the voice recorder. See there? Just as important as everybody else. All right. So I know lots of questions. I can see them all stirring in your brains already. So let's talk about why we started here first off. I put Big John's in your text message this morning on purpose because it is a pretty big landmark for us. This is established in 1955, as you can read on the side of the building, but this is a new invention, like basically renovated into Big John's of what we know now. The original Big John's was owned by Big John Kennedy himself. He was a 1947 New York Giants football player. He used to sit in the back of the bar, and he used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He gets up and starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall. So after the renovations, I haven't been in there to see if the bullet hole is still there, but even if it isn't and it's been filled in, John's blood is in the building. People that sit in the front of this building, they might get a headache, dizziness, nauseous. I've had guests that eat there and can't finish their steak because they sat in the front based on the paranormal activity. This is kind of your heated warning. You're going to be, fingers crossed, dealing with paranormal activity tonight. I don't know how it's going to affect you. If anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately to get us all to safety. So I'm not going to say that people haven't passed out from this tour in the past. We actually had to call an EMT just a few weeks ago. So, again, there's going to be some weird stuff happening tonight, fingers crossed. But that's what you all wanted, right? So, I feel like you and I are going to have a conversation throughout the night. Just saying. Just getting that vibe from you. So, let's not talk about our own health, right? Have you guys taken other Charleston history tours?
Yes.
Yes? No? Okay, a couple of you. So, we had a big earthquake here.
Horse trolley.
Oh, well, that's a history tour. So, big earthquake here in 1886. It's a big deal for us because it's an anomaly because we're on the East Coast. We all talk about it. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the mantle that you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front on the East Bay side. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed him. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I have no proof. It's usually a great segue for the moms on my tour so they're not worried about their kids getting sick on my tour because I told them they might get dizzy and have nauseous. So, are you all ready to go ghost hunting and learn more about your devices?
Yes.
Sure.
You're either going to be a very lively crowd or a very quiet crowd. I haven't figured it out. Like, you guys all got here and you're all like, yeah, let's do this. And now all of a sudden you're like, wow, this guy's serious. So, all right, let's go see what you guys signed up
We
for.
just told us we might die. So
Just get dizzy. Maybe fall over.
not really sure.
That's like normal.
You say it's part of the tour.
I don't think that car's supposed to go that way, is it?
I think it's a two-way.
Is it a two-way street?
Like it isn't.
We're gonna go digging through dumpsters. so I don't know.
On steady ground.
Not great himself, but a song lyric that is common today, and a part of the lyric means something to the location. So, all right, let's learn more about your devices. First and foremost, those of you with video cameras, both of you, people do not like to be filmed. We're going to be in some spaces where there's going to be vehicles as well. People do not like their cars being filmed. You're being pretty obvious when with your camera, like basically shooting a YouTube video. Like when we're in spaces like this and people are going to their cars, you're casually holding a cell phone and you are obviously in a
So
position
you gotta hold
where
it
you
down
are.
more, is what you're saying.
Again, people just do not appreciate being filmed. They have no idea what we're doing, so we don't want to offend anyone.
Let
So,
me do it.
where are
I can
we?
do it.
We are at the Big Red Barn lot. Right behind you is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. In the summertime, you can smell them pretty good. You notice my voice went down a little bit. The horses can hear us, so if we get too loud, and that's also why we use earbuds with the spirit boxes, they will kick that metal wall and scare the hell out of all of us. So, just so you guys know.
It's fun.
It's not fun.
It's so fun.
London is the comic relief of the night, just so you all know.
She's like, you should do it.
Someone just
I don't believe him.
This is going to be a lively clip. So, the history here is really simple, and I made it that way on purpose, so that way we're not here for too long. You just get used to your devices, and we actually go deep dive into much further history. This is where we used to keep horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. 1860s to 1920s. That's all I got. Whenever I'm giving you any kind of piece of history about a location or any information about it, I will usually slow down on certain keywords for spirit box formats. Over there, it was 1947, New York, Giants, John, anything related to football, right? Over here, I slowed down on delivery, milk, and eggs. Obviously horses and anything related to horses and stables. So, spirit boxes. Everybody wants to start off with, is somebody here? If somebody answers no, that means somebody's here, right? So, we're not going to ask yes or no questions at all. The reason for that is because you're not going to get solid proof from a yes or no question. You're going to go after specific things. Certain locations, I'll give you some questions that you can work with. If you go rogue, you just have to let me know what they are, and if you actually get an answer, to see if I can actually prove it. In this location, as we kind of get used to our devices, those of you with spirit boxes, you're going to ask questions like, what color is the Big Red Barn? Reason being is I want you to listen for things like red, obviously. However, the word red might not be in the vocabulary of our DJs and song lyrics, but heartbeat, or heart, blood, fire truck, cardinal, all of those things are specifically red. Those would be acceptable answers throughout the night. However, most of the night I'm going to require two pieces of evidence to be able to verify what's actually happening. For example, so you have the word list?
Yeah.
I'm getting names all clogged up in my head again.
Sure.
Cheryl and
Stephanie.
I'll get it right. I had it mixed up.
You have a lot of S's on this tour.
I know.
A lot of
So,
S's.
let's say Cheryl has the word art on hers, and Mary hears the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. See where I have to put those double clues together? Most of the stories tonight that I will kind of go over, multiple people with the same name. We're going to be talking about colonial times in the 1800s. So we're talking Georges, Elizas, Charles, like a lot of the same people. So we need to know who the heck we're talking to. There's always a secondary clue that will verify that one way or the other. So I usually work with the video people first, so that way the spirit box people can get used to listening to them. Obviously, you're going to want to hang around because you're with the video person, and so are you, just because your video person is here too. The two of you want to kind of venture off so you can listen in, and Lennon can show you more about how to operate the motion sensor on that. That way we can kind of get this party moving other than football players and ponies, and we'll, obviously go much further back in history than, recent times. So, video people, stay with me, and then Lennon, if you want to work with Mary as well, that'd be fantastic. So go take them around the lot and get her to start listening into her spirit box. So let me show you more tactics with your video cameras. So you're going to do two different things. Obviously, well, three different things. First off, both of you are not going to be so obvious when you're filming. But you particularly, because you're dealing with temperatures, you want to try to keep a person in and the sky out. So let me explain. Person in, we're going to be the warmest thing out here. So that's going to give you an array of color. Go ahead and point your camera at this wall for me. Do you see how it bleeds out?
Yep.
When I put my hand in there, obviously the wall changes color.
Correct.
You get a much bigger array. The reason I say keep the sky out, if possible, is that blue dot that's bouncing around automatically defaults to the sky because there's nothing to measure. It only measures surfaces.
Found that out.
So it automatically goes straight up. So again, person in, sky out, if at all possible. But again, even when I tell you to like, hey, let's kind of give the camera a break, you can put it in the coat pocket, do whatever you got to do to, you know, just kind of keep it warm. If things go a little awry with it, like the camera pops off, because that can happen, just let me know, and me and London will come by and fix it. But in here, I do want you to get used to the different types of temperature. So in here, you have asphalt, metal, wood, foliage. Just kind of do a quick little peruse, but again, you never focus on a car, so that way people aren't thinking we're filming vehicles. If I was a car thief, that would be my first tool, just so you know. Because I know how long the cars have been sitting there based on its heat signature. So it also cannot see through glass, just so you know. I don't know if you've ever worked with thermal imaging before, but everybody wants to know if it can see through glass, and no, it cannot, unfortunately. So
He can.
no, he can't either, actually. Well,
My infrared will go right through glass like nothing.
So have some fun with it. I'll come and see your word list in just a moment once I'm done with him. But yeah, just take a quick lap around the parking lot. Just stay within the confines right here. You know, obviously within the lot. Kind of get used to that.
Well, I don't know how to be less obvious without, you know, being able to view stuff. The asphalt is kind of red. It's funny because the sign that's on there is blue. See that? Steel is red.
What's the yellow light?
That's just like based on how much motion. So like
Oh, mirror. Mirror. It's been saying round for a long time. Now it says mirror.
Mirror?
Mirror. There's a mirror.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I'll do.
Nothing.
Hang out like a booger.
Okay.
So that's the kind of thing. When I say let's get the start for you, it's going to be this button right here. And that will start
Head portal.
Yeah.
Around portal, western, ancient bloodletting, resign, blood, and utilize.
Sure there's
Above you.
okay. But I can't turn above me.
well, it's great that you've identified songs and commercials and what they're saying. So just so you know, it's a little more specific. So again, you'll see me
I've seen something over by him. I don't know.
I don't know what you're really looking for, do you?
A blue dot. There was something blue. They're cold, so it would be more temperature change. And see how that turns real blue at times. And then, like I say, you try to keep thermal imaging away.
All right, Cheryl, let me see your list. Let's take a
Pretty
look.
good one.
All alone. It's got over 9,200 words in its vocabulary. So what it's doing is it's spitting them out randomly. That's why I can count on 80% of them being yes and no. And the other 20% are a little too specific for the location, and I use this at every location I go to. I love the sound. So again, it's kind of like do you guys watch the TV shows? Do you see like the ovulus that he uses? That has 2048 terms in it. This has 9200. So they say that 2048, all of it's accurate. I still call a little bit of a BS. I'm sure some of it doesn't mean anything. But this one, at least we have more to work with. So I just like the amount of vocabulary that's in there. So, like the word wings, this will be a bar thing, right?
Yeah.
We go over to the last group and then they go on the tank then.
Stay with him.
Oh, they go up this way?
They're exploring. I go over there. I see them in front of the car. Is that thing cool or what?
Huh?
Is that thing cool or can you hear anything?
I mean, if you got ADD, this will like fuck you up. It's like it's literally like it's like they're literally flipping through all the stations and you're just trying to pick up the order.
Oh wow. That would be
Cream cheese. I heard cream cheese. Cream cheese.
cream cheese. Wings. Wings and cream cheese.
I heard cream cheese.
Hey,
Try to be more specific for you. Cream cheese.
I got wings.
Moral of the story is sanctify the Lord. So, oh, I just
I guess we're going this way.
I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, come on.
I'm just working on my not being obvious. You're screwed, buddy.
Yeah, no,
He's screwed.
you stand out. Sorry.
Yeah, I could kind of carry this
You
around
I
like.
have an old CB going on right now, but
It's very difficult to pick up.
it's a very ADD job.
Yeah.
And I don't have any.
All right.
It is this way.
So let's definitely turn the volumes down on your spirit boxes. So you can,
IRS. Put that one down. IRS.
let's turn those down so you can actually focus on what's going on here. Yes, I know another beautiful spot of Charleston, another great parking lot. So again, we're gonna stay away from in between the vehicles and
Less
filming them.
dumpsters.
But this place used to be something, which is why we come here. Yeah, you can relax for a minute. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was from behind Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we are standing in the slave servant quarters back here. So, just FYI, that's the only entrance and exit for vehicles. So we just want to be mindful of that as well. So why are we here? This is a pretty big deal for all of us here in Charleston. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. That's the second one. And they had a nephew named Charles. There's your third Charles. Do you guys see why I need secondary clues now? The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. They were raised here. So pretty big deal. I don't like to talk about politics, and you guys are all on vacation anyway. So let's move on and just talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times from where she came from. By the way, Spirit Box teams, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there at the Big Red Barn. You're going to get the answers from your Spirit Boxes. So the age that she got married, I'm not going to give you that either, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So if that kind of gives you an area of interest of what numbers you should be listening for when you ask that question later on. Eliza married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying. So she stayed put and she got married. This wasn't for a green card or citizenship because we weren't even a country yet. This was 1744. So she did marry him out of love, and even after his death, she remained a widow for a very, very long time. So a pretty big deal. So, with that being said, Dad sends over a bunch of gifts because he didn't die right away. He wanted to apologize to her. So one of the gifts that he happened to send her was the plant indigo. You guys have been here for at least a few hours that I know of. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. You've been driving around town, you've seen the word at least once. I guarantee it. once she started experimenting with it here, she realized that she couldn't keep it cultivated in our colder temperatures. So she had to learn from her Gullah slaves how to keep it going. These are agriculturists. They know how to keep it going. She experimented some more, she got it right, and she moved all of the crop over to the plantation in Mount Pleasant, just north of here. So once she had it over there, it's thriving. She calls her dad and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. Can you give me some contacts? We could start shipping it overseas right away. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, something absolutely unheard of. Now that's the basic history stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff. That's why you guys are all here, right? Chris is like, yeah, let's do it. So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So now we have 3 different Charleses and 2 different Elizas. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L.
Lucas.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you rattled it off pretty quick. Okay.
Smart kid.
Well, let's find out who the first wife was then. So now we know that that one was Lucas. She's giving it away.
Oh.
That's
There it is.
I got a Lucas.
So that's the stuff that we're looking for. That was pretty amazing. Nice job. I don't know what you did to her phone. No, I'm kidding. So the first wife also maiden name starts with the letter L. Find out what that is. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. Then you can ask what year it happened. Hopefully you get the very specific year of that tragedy. Yes, it was a tragedy. I'll kind of give you that clue right there. The children, I told you there was at least one. His name was Charles, signer of the Constitution. There are more. You can ask how many and what their names are, but that's it. If we poke the bear too much, Eliza will stop talking altogether, even on any kind of reading that we have on the EMF function of your device. So the reason why is there's a tragedy among those kids, and we don't want to poke the bear too much. I will reveal what that tragedy was before we leave. Let's see, Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. She's really open. Hey, Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? And, where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? These are all very specific questions. Notice they're not yes and no questions. I think that about covers the bases of what we can get started with. If you do go rogue, make sure it's something we can prove. If you're going to try to get anything from this slave area, I cannot prove any of it. So you're going to have to take that experience as your own. Again, we're going to explore the space. We're going to stay in the confines of the walls with this many cars in here. It is the weekend. We're kind of, stuck to the sides and maybe the corners if they're, not plugged up with cars. You can see it's pretty busy in here. Cars are coming in and out. So Chris, go ahead and get your video started. London, you can work with him on your lasers and kind of, show him a little bit more about the distance and that kind of thing. And of course, lasers set off car alarms, so you might hear me say, London, lasers, just so that she's mindful of where she's at with that stuff. So lasers can get Nick in a lot of trouble if we're not careful. So let's spread out, let's have some fun, and I start bouncing around with all of you to kind of get notes, and you'll see me writing things down that you hear, the readings that you're going to get, so forth and so on. You guys will get all these notes again tomorrow morning. So, all right, let's spread out. Let's have fun. That's why we're here, right? Sure. So,
Sure.
How's it going?
It's going. I just trying to keep you in the film because otherwise I have nobody else in the film.
Oh,
I need to keep somebody in the film.
he said any of these guys could be
Yeah.
in the film too.
Yep. Not really. It's hard to tell when you know, who knows? See cars.
Yeah.
It's like looking for night crawlers almost.
Is it?
What they're doing.
All right. Quiet, which are all like all the bars are coming up and down. Right now it's doing nothing, but then these bars start getting high and then I get words.
More noise jumping around.
It's just kind of
Yep, you got a blue dot right in between your legs right there.
So, Nick?
You got a reading?
11.8, 18. And then I marked the spot because they're in front of us right now walking. It went blue marker. I got 2.2 right. He's actually right here. But I'll mark it over there.
Okay.
Right now at 4.1. 8. 9.8. No, that's a 0.
So anything above 18 at this point is all in. I want to see how high I got a good look.
No, I have 18 right here.
Yeah, I have 18.
So I do have a blue dot over here. Nope, you see it? Moves up by that car. I was actually on her when it started, and actually when he had a reading over there, it had a blue dot. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I will. And then where they marked that spot, there was a dot. See, right now it's by them.
It's not here.
No, well, every once in a while a blue one will flash in there. Right now it's on the sky.
Oh, that's a blue dot?
Yeah. You keep it low, see that?
Oh, that's what you're trying to do.
I guess. I don't know. You know, I just don't know.
This is right where he was too, wasn't it? Because my thing's going crazy. Discovered. I discovered the spot.
Alright, so how are we doing on your thermal?
24.
Nice.
Well, I get blue dots every once in a while.
Okay. Well, the blue dot is going to come up all the time. It just stays on the screen.
No, well, it moves. It moves around. So that flashing blue dot moves around.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know what that means.
That's just giving you the coldest area in the frame.
Yeah, so when he was over there and he was lit up,
Mm-hmm.
I moved over and that blue dot was right between his legs.
Perfect. That's stuff I have to look at, obviously.
Yeah.
It's much easier to see on a bigger screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and just like I told Chris, like the cameras aren't always a real-time moment thing. It's great to review them later.
Sure.
So when you can put them on your computer
And,
screen.
and then
TV.
once again, and I moved over to here, and actually the other girl was over here, and she was there, and the dot stayed there for quite a while she was right there. So I don't know. Obviously, it's probably in between those cars.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's always going to go straight to windshields too. Windshields are all glass.
I haven't got a windshield yet, so Cheryl was getting some readings there, so I don't know. Something's just drifting around. Every once in a while you get the sky, so.
Yeah, I know it's hard to do. Keeping it out. I want to take a look at the orbit again.
46, temperature 30.
And I got a reading on you right there.
Yeah, definitely keep the film going on him. You said 30 degrees?
Drop to 31 degrees.
Picture? Show?
All right.
Oh, Led Zeppelin.
Yep. It's your second. What's up?
I know.
All right, let's go back to the back.
But I like
we got
Led Zeppelin,
a lot of
so.
things going on here, so let's move back here again.
Diabetes.
Actually, we've heard here before, but it's not anything relevant to the car, right? All right, go ahead and stop your video, kind of give it a break, so hit that square. Yeah, just let it be at a circle, and you can just leave. Running good, thank you for showing me. Did you hear any names? No? Cheryl, did you get any names on yours?
Nope, I got her.
Okay, so let me tell you where we are. This is Lodge Alley. When we crossed that last crosswalk, we ran across, and almost killed us all. That was where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, 2 words, the walled city. So this is one of the very first streets that we ever had. And one of the reasons why I like to bring you down here is because I have the full list of people that lived here. These 2 buildings that we're leaned up against, they weren't here. Little tiny shotgun houses, 1 to 2 room homes, if you're not familiar with that term. So not very high class, so to speak. So what do you have?
Timber.
Timber?
Timber.
Interesting. That's something else.
When?
So the other part of the wall would have been across the street on East Bay Street. You can basically see it from here, and it would have been going south. So the smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite often. This is not going to be your high-class society living down here. They did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks, which we're going to talk about more in just a minute. They did find some of their tools and silverware and some of their clothing, verified that these people were lower class. They also found evidence of fires down here. The reason why I ask for those names is because the normal names that I get down here are Benjamin and John. About every 6 to 7 weeks, they usually come up in the same night. The interesting thing about that is there's a Benjamin and a John that both lived here in 1801. Keep in mind, there's only 5 to 6 people that lived here at any given time. If they die, we got to swap the battery. So it happened. This is about the space where we have to swap it. Nothing paranormal. Yeah, I carry 5 batteries for this exact reason. So, but Benjamin and John, again, 1801, I have nothing significant about this other than the fact that I get the same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. Let's talk about the bricks you're walking on, because that's why it actually happens. These are Belgian blocks. They're made straight from granite, purely of granite. Now, you guys will all watch the TV shows, at least that you've confessed to me. You guys have heard of limestone, where it normally interacts with paranormal activity. Anything that comes straight from the earth, like limestone or granite, will usually hang on to the consciousness of memories, which is why I get the same names over and over and over again. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, which is where the lodge gets its name. So, you look like you actually knew something about that. You just kind of blinked and nodded for a moment, like, huh.
I understand now.
Okay. The terms that I normally get here are based around Freemasons, or obviously Freemason, Mason, bricks, and then I've even heard the word Illuminati show up here quite a few times. So I know it's humorous even when I hear it. I'm like, are you serious? Really? Again? So it's kind of like, let's just add it to the conspiracy theories. I know, right? This is a very interesting space. Every once in a while, I get a third name. That name is Jane. So, how you doing, guys? Jane also lived here in 1801. Again, I have no significant thing about this 1801 thing other than this is a residual ghost. I'm waiting for names to pop up on recordings and even on the word list. So again, it just depends on where we're at. I have caught shadow figures here with the thermal imaging camera, and we've caught quite a few orbs with the camera that Chris has. So as we're walking, I will swap out his battery and get him a new one so that he's ready to go to the next spot. Now, again, this is just a quick stop to give you a little bit more layout of the land. Plus, we're in Charleston. You need to see some original cobblestone. This is it. It's about as original as it's going to get. 1735 is what you want. The next alley I'm going to take you to, I cannot take you through. You've been booted out. You guys have to remember you joined the annoying group with the blinky lights and all your gizmos and gadgets, and it is residential. We will be cutting through a small part of the neighborhood, so it is an absolute no video cameras, and London already knows no lasers in the neighborhood until we get to Philadelphia Alley. Philadelphia Alley is very cool, and I still tell the story outside the alley because we still get a ton of evidence even from afar. It is that strong of a story. I absolutely love it. So, Chris, let me take a look at your camera real quick. So I can swap out your battery as we move along.
I'm going to get 595.
Is it in the middle or close to a dome?
See which stop. right now it's now the 3738 in the right.
Okay.
And it stops. And it goes back down. Drop down to 3.3.
So
So from here to here, is that?
I would say, like, I'm looking at things this way. So if you were leaned up like where I'm at, you're probably going to get a 5 based on the building. But in the center, you
What's
should
interesting is I touched the building,
Yeah.
0, 100% across the board. And that's 1.3, 1.3. Because it was just that's why I'm
Yeah.
learning, so
Yeah.
nerdy.
No, you're actually, that's a good, I'm actually going to report that because that's an anomaly. You don't normally see that.
So right now it's 0, 0.
Very interesting. We need to hire this guy.
You're gonna fire your daughter?
Talk to us.
Hey, you go tell them this is a quiet zone.
Hey, hey, that's my competitor. Let them get in trouble. Did I say the house?
No judgment.
All right. Yeah, let's begin. All right, let's take a hike.
Is that another tour?
Yes.
Nap time, honey? Yeah. Have you done this before?
This was short. I've been to Philadelphia Alley, and that's when I.
Stop your video once we exit the alley.
You want me to hit the red button?
Yeah, hit that red. No, you can record, but I just want you to kind of keep it low because the other tours are going to start. You're going to see a lot more other groups like what we saw down there at Lodge. They're very large groups. We stay out of their way because they tell a story, they move on. We stop and investigate. So, nice job on that thermal. He's like nice and low. He's got it. So, this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. It's called Philadelphia Alley now because after dueling became illegal and stupid, we had to rename it after a city that helped us out of one of those many fires I told you about earlier. So we named it Philadelphia Alley. That's what we all know it as today. But we all tell the story of the specific duel because we can actually prove it. And we get a lot of facts. So, the alley right behind me. The reason why I stand here so you guys can get the visual. So, with that, there's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Platt. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? He's going to get married, so he moves away. Amanda inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with that money, and the attorney thinks the doctor is after Amanda's money. So he tells her to send the doctor away. Proves that he's not just after her cash, he moves to Charleston. So when he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. He looked like he had a lot of money, he just came out of med school. He didn't have a lot of money, obviously. So, somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs. Keep in mind, you guys are ghost hunting, so initials mean something. The initials that Ralph has, RI, are the same as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. Again, need that secondary clue so I know who the hell it belongs to. So Ralph says, hey man, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. There's a guy with a gun inside. So why don't you come with me? I got some friends that own a place at 59 Church Street, and you can rent a room from them. So that's exactly what he did. Went and rented this room at 59 Church Street, and the two become friends, Doctor and Ralph. So the doctor's practice starts to take off, right? A couple months go by, he's doing pretty well for himself. Amanda's moving down soon. She gets word that he's doing well. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit has a whistle. Ours is a doctor, just so you know. So Ralph and the doctor go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes so much more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare, and they start talking about the new actress that was here. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph did not. And they start arguing. Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and it gets pretty heated, and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper, free of charge, telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad, and rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take the 20 paces, is done in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is what often happened at a duel. It's not always a dead guy. However, Ralph still has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor falls to the ground. He didn't die. His friends pick him up and carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. He's a doctor. He probably tried to treat himself through bloodletting. We did have that term show up on your spirit box earlier tonight. However, we're a little far away for it to be relevant. So again, keep that in mind. They say as you walk through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. However, all of us locals, we know the story. Anybody walking on Cumberland, which is the street we're on, or Queen Street on the other side of the alley, we all throw a whistle down the alley. I do invite you to take a walk down there because it is one of the most picturesque places we have in all of Charleston. Day or night, the lighting is perfect, and it's usually pretty quiet. And that's why they say you can hear the whistles. They also say you can hear gunshots, but I don't have any. So a lot of the other tours like to go down there. We're allowed to go down there about halfway. Here's why I did. So, yeah, how are you? So, one night before Thanksgiving 2020, taking my tour all the way through it, and everybody's investigating a little bit. I usually tell you guys to focus on the vocals on the voice recorder so that we can hear the whistles later on. But it's residential at the end of every day on the mouse screen. Technically not allowed here. So the bricks at the end of this alley are actually older than the bricks on this side. So those bricks at the other side on Queen Street are actually sun-dried bricks from slave trade. We have a full handprint and a couple of fingerprint swipes on those bricks. And I always point it out, especially when I have a diverse crowd, to show how far we've come. Like it's a big deal. And when you see that handprint, the first thing you want to do is you want to put an EMF meter near it. You want to listen to a spirit box session. It's just like a grave, like what I told you about the thing. That kid's not hanging around that damn brick, right? Well, the neighbor came out and we never went back. So those dates are important to the very last story of why I had to reroute this entire tour. Because this last half that we're going to be working on wasn't part of the way I originally designed it. So you'll see once I start going through the dates. London grins every time I tell this story because she was there that night and she loves to see a guy get yelled at. But she laughs because my group stood up to him because he was walking the dog backwards. They were all, where's your mask? And it was what mask were they? It was hysterical. And then we got screamed at by a homeless person later on that night because I said happy Thanksgiving to him and he went off there. And I was like, what the hell is happening?
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I was like, you know, I think it was a, how am I supposed to have a happy Thanksgiving when I live right here? Like, it was a
Your
weird
choice.
scenario. Yeah. Obviously, your spirit boxes have been down, so I won't ask if anything was popped up. Have you had any of those popped up? Back.
Max and back.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not looking, but either way.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I make sure that I'm focused.
You can continue recording if you want, but this next portion is really not necessary because it's kind of a myths and legends piece. So if you guys want to turn off your video cameras, you can. Again, on spirit boxes, definitely crank them up here and you see what you can capture. We're going to be waiting on you to see what you can get out of this. Last night, it actually gave us decent words that were kind of like, okay, that's workable, but it wasn't anything significant. So we'll kind of see what happens. But yeah, let's spread out and have some fun here, and then I'll be over by the mall. Come up with me. You can, absolutely here. Got it. actually had it on the spot. I was surprised.
But just because there's not a death here.
Right.
Questions
That's the point. And Anna said to be seen all over. That's why this is a hit or miss. We just have to catch her at the right time.
just try to talk to her. It might be a thing, or it might be a. That's what we're working. Maybe for me.
It was all about it. I can't tell you. First time, was so I took up the 26th. Come here, I got a time because 27th is Thanksgiving. So 2020. So I don't know.
Hi, baby.
Haven't really seen much, have you?
Not that I can tell. But he'll figure it out.
It's been a roof line right there.
There's something following her around, so she's either really cold-blooded or it changes.
I'm a vampire.
So there's readings all over and then too. Temperature variations, but they're not real cold. I know if I get by that, you can almost see that little log or whatever, that wall that's right there, part of the old wall.
You see that? It looks like an old house.
Yeah, I seen that.
Something right there.
Uh-oh. Sprinkle.
Oh, I thought I saw like a drop. I thought maybe it spit out.
Starting to sprinkle.
I was asking, trying to find the ship. I got the words breathe, free fall, and light.
Nothing that's coming to when I'm looking at it going together.
I think there's a yard up in front here. We'll go see.
You're real. You're real. Yeah.
Are you sure?
I never know if I'm
Who ordered the rain? I didn't think it was supposed to rain. Seen anything at all?
Most of the time they said go back and find it later.
Gotcha.
Because this screen's so small, you can't.
Gallows right there.
Yeah, like he'll put it on his computer screen.
There's nothing in the gallows.
Struggling with that.
Nah, it's all locked up. Did they go up there or are they still back here? Yeah, then we gotta walk back to the car.
We're not that far.
No?
2 blocks.
Oh, perfect.
Half block that or walk that way. 2 blocks that way.
What's that?
I didn't think we'd spend time in the parking lot.
No.
So we're gonna go and flip through the building.
Yeah, I didn't do that. Party must be over. Yeah. Well, we're in a parking lot. That's a good place to be for a minute or two.
That's it. Underneath.
What's the name of the ship at the bottom jeans?
Boots with the fur.
What about Boots with the Fur? Because that came up next.
Whole club looking at her.
We went to Seattle for that. And they were just talking about stuff. All of a sudden, it was just like making fun of that bill that way done. And I'm like, it sounds like that more free one for us. But it was that even.
It's bad.
So we did an investigation at Fort Fremont. Basically, I like to go to places that haven't been deemed haunted yet. This one had a little bit of more to it, so I went down there and I basically got one of my crazy migraines, which I hadn't had in months, out of the blue. I had to sit down. I had my ESA with me, so he's just chilling. I sent London and my wife to go take pictures, listen to spirit boxes, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff that came out of the spirit boxes and the word lists, stuff that was related to Harriet Tubman, who started a raid to go save slaves and move up into North Carolina. All the clues came together. So I looked in to see if Harriet Tubman had any headache and migraines. She had migraines on the same side of her head that I get based on the impression that she had when she was a child. She hit the head with a bottle or a rock or
Saying
something.
heavy trauma, right?
Yeah. So I was kind of like, Are you kidding me right now? I have a connection to an actual famous
Yeah.
person.
Wow.
Like, that I can name and everybody knows the name Harriet Tubman. So,
Who's that?
alright, you two, let's rein it in. It's starting to drizzle.
You want me to turn this off?
It's weird
Yeah,
when
you
you
can
feel
go.
those